And that's it for the latest news headlines we have in the studio. Mama V is here with the latest of those stories. She's been able to pick some of them amusing, some of them a bit bizarre, weird, some of them, you know, politically incorrect. Yeah. And she's there with some of the good morning to you, Mama V.
Good morning, Roland. Yesterday, I did share the facility that keeps frozen bodies.
Yeah, you did.
So today, I want to show you how it looks like, how the facility looks like. And then I heard that there was a robotic hotel in Tokyo. It won't be the first. There was a cafe with robots, you know.
Okay.
So
it means that guests are served by robots?
Yes.
That's what we're heading to now.
Not 100%.
Yeah, but it means that...
because they say
artificial intelligence is taking over everything.
Yeah. So robots don't make the bed, but they receive you at the reception, you know, things like that. And then there's something brewing in Kenya.
What if one day they malfunction and punch a guest in the face?
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. They say they don't clean the bathrooms as well because, you know, otherwise they'll be soaked in water and then they will.
But I think that they would have cleaned the bathroom so well. It's only that they are electronically wired. Yeah. And sometimes electricity and water just don't mix. Right.
So, you know, things are happening in places and we'll try and share a few with you. But let's look at...
We're talking about Kenya.
Yeah, Kenya. There's something brewing in Kenya because today... you know, the main opposition leader going into
Raila Odinga.
Raila Odinga is going to be sworn in. Initially, they said as the people's president. Well, we wait to see whether it's going to be a judge, but definitely not, you know, the head of the judiciary in Kenya.
Yeah, because that's what their constitution states. That's the president-elect has to be sworn into office by the head of the Supreme Court. Yeah. All right. So we will see, and I don't know, but we will hear from somebody who's been an advisor to the president, to Raila Odinga when he was prime minister, you know, giving us an outline. We're not sure exactly what's going to be happening in Kenya, but definitely there will be a march from one point to a place called the Uhuru Park, and they say it does not belong to Uhuru Kenyatta. So we will see. Very interesting. But let's first of all learn about the things happening in our own country. Let's do the Finder newspaper. That's what we start the review with. Front page of the Finder this day: tour. IES face off over forced shutdown of refinery just 16 days after resumption. So there are faces with this headline: Richmond Roxing, Principal Research Analyst at IES, and Isaac Osei, MD of TOR. I'll bring you a bit of the story in a bit. Campaign against mother-to-child HIV transmission would be relentless, according to the First Lady. And we know about Komfanochi Teaching Hospital and what she used her influence to achieve. And so when she says she will not relent in her campaign against mother-to-child HIV, we definitely believe her. Also, Efia Akoto begs Senior Hosi to escape 8 million Ghana cedis suit. What's all that about? Ghana Water Company to publish water rationing timetable. Shouldn't they have done this before even announcing that they will be rationing water? Why do you begin the process days after? In my area, I get water supply cut often. So this really, when I heard it, didn't sound like news to me.
That's not like thinking ahead. We're always...
I mean, there are times I could go off the whole week without water.
Yeah?
So, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. You're in control of your own process. You came out to announce that you're going to be rationing water, but you didn't think about releasing a timetable before you start the process. I mean, what kind of thinking is like backward thinking right there? It's like we're not moving, we're not learning, we're not moving on, and these such angles of story like they
Operation Vanguard. Just go Operation anyway.
Let's do bits of the stories on the front page of the paper. So let's start off with this TOR situation, the Tama Oil Refinery. And story by the editor of the Finder himself, Elvis Jacon, says circumstances that led to a forced shutdown of the Tama Oil Refinery after just 16 days of operations have invoked some bad blood between Energy Think Tank, Institute for Energy Security, and the management of TOR. So the refinery, which resumed operations on January 2, 2018, experienced a forced shutdown on January 18, 2018. You might want to read about the analysis and where the conflict or the misunderstanding is and learn more about it. Ghana to own Akwaba hotels, according to Catherine Afeku, who is the tourism arts minister. Madam Catherine Afeku, Minister of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, says Ghana would soon construct Akwaba hotels across the country to provide affordable hotel accommodation to both domestic and foreign tourists. Why do I have a feeling that this is absolutely misplaced priorities right there? What's the business of governments building hotels? Like, what's the point? It's almost like, so this is it would be funded under a public-private partnership arrangement through the Ghana Tourism Development Company, which would use the land as equity while the private sector investors provide the funds for the actual construction. Why don't we just do it 100% privates?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We've had some hotels owned by SNIT, etc., and sometimes they've not done too well. Anyway.
Let's do this this other one on Efia Akoto begging Senor Hossi. So a Deputy Executive Secretary of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, MASLOC, Madam Efia Akoto, who is the third defendant in an 8 million Ghana cedis defamation lawsuit, has apologized and retracted comments she re-echoed, accusing Senor Hossi, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, of offering a $1 million bribe to the CEO of the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company, Alfred Obeng. Senor Hossi, I beg, continue the process. You can apologize.
Sometimes I wish that they will say through. Like, you know, it's like some of the stories that they do against, let's say, personalities like JDM and some of them. I want them to sue the newspapers and the personalities for them. For us, you know, sometimes create a little drama.
Yeah, don't give in to this. You can apologize. I mean, you can apologize, but let the process take its course. That's just what I'm saying. And then this last one that I really can't understand. Residents across the country who are hard hit by water shortages, like Roland Walker, may have to look to God for redemption, according to the communications director of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Stanley Mate. The rate of evaporation of water bodies across the country has become alarming, and unless there is rain, there will be consequences for some communities.
So it's because we have dry weather, or the weather has not been too good. Okay, so the rains have just not been falling. That's the reason why.
Oh, we always look to the rains. This one is not new.
Yeah, I find it quite surprising. As if we never envisaged that.
And then when it rains to a certain level, we say it has rained too much. So we have to let go of some of the water. You know? Yeah. That's an interesting place that we live, but we love it either way. Yeah. Oh, there are other interesting stories in the Finder newspaper, but certainly I can't touch on all. I leave the rest to you. 4 killed by robbers in attacks on 6 failing stations. Head teacher found dead in her room. Kumasi Traditional Council backs AMA demolitions, amongst many other stories in the Finder newspaper. Roland has the Times.
All right. So let's get to the Ghanaian Times. On the front page of the Ghanaian Times, we have the story. Togbe Apada slams politicians for failure to end poverty on the continent. Mass migration by Africans to Europe and attributing it to poverty. Yeah, really. And poor governance structures, because the political elite and those who rule, the ruling elite, they are rich, while the entire or the majority of their citizens are wallowing in poverty. And so sometimes they have to go through dire straits. And so they go through the Mediterranean, but before then would have to go through the dry. The desert is always dry, of course. Yeah, and sometimes they have to be rescued by Europeans who treat them badly. Ultimately, some of them make it, and they become examples for others in their home regions who also want to go by those same routes and become successful. But let's see how it goes. President also launches Universal Declaration of Human Rights anniversary celebration. Police grab fake soldier at Nsom. The suspect is called Prince Ferguson Essel. He has a rank of a captain. Good morning to you, Captain Prince Ferguson Essel. But let's look at the main story itself on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. It's about Togbe Apada making those concerns known. It's on page 17 of the paper. And it says, the unending saga of mass migration of Africans seeking to get to Europe through unapproved routes in extremely perilous conditions as a result of the failure of politicians to end poverty on the continent of Africa, according to Togri Apoda, the Agbogbomathia of the Asogli states. And in his observation, the absence of jobs, wealth, and social amenities have compelled people to put their lives on the line to such extent in search of greener pastures. And sometimes when you arrive in those countries with no proper skills, they find you not useful to their economies. And so they make sure that you don't get to integrate well in their economies. But when you are useful, they'll find something for you to do. Usually that's what it is. And then we have President launches Universal Declaration of Human Rights Anniversary Celebration. And that story also on page 16 says that the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has launched the 70th anniversary celebration of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights with a call on all to ensure that the fight for the protection and respect for human rights remains a constant one. Okay, so let's get to the back page of the paper. Tourism Ministry secures 50 million USD for improvement project, and DVLA to monitor vehicle testing stations with central database system. That's what's new coming from the DVLA, the Driver Vehicle and Licensing Authority, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority. So that's what the DVLA. And so I guess that will make up for what we have by the main news featured in the Ghanaian Times. Mamavi. You're reading something has taken your concentration.
Yeah, the Vice President is returns this week, and this is revelation made by the majority leader as he spoke on OKFM.
Oh, he said this week.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, but let's go to the front page of the New Crusading Guide newspaper. So, headlines on the front page of the New Crusading Guide newspaper: respect human rights. President Akufo-Addo tells African leaders. That story, page 3 and 10. 2 tigers visit orphanage. Also another headline here. And VIP Bawumia returns this week. Majority leader withdraw legal profession regulations from Parliament. President told. Okay, so Osofo. Hey, hold on. Which one's that? Shirabosum. Fumes. Yes. Says worshipping of idols is foolishness. But who is he? I guess you've got to read about it in the New Crusading Guide newspaper. But let's go to page 3. Okay, a bit of this story on page 3. It says, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has advised African leaders to respect and protect the rights, or protect their rights of their citizens. I guess the rights of their citizens. He made this known when he launched the 70th anniversary celebration of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, with a call on all to ensure that the fight for the protection and respect for human rights remains a constant one. Details in the background to this story in the New Crusading Guide newspaper. And the majority leader and Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, Oseiche Mensah Bonsu, says Vice President Alhaji Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia is expected to arrive in the country this week. And according to him, the Vice President is well and will return to the country before the week ends. Speaking on OKFM, the Member of Parliament added that he was due to return last week, but was advised to take the week off and rest. Now, here's the little challenge that I seem to have. First, there was a press release by the communications director at the presidency. Subsequently, there was another communication from the chief of staff. And now, communicating to us the return of the vice president is the majority leader in parliament. I don't get it. Can we use just one channel to communicate this? And, why the revelation on a radio station when previously we've gotten press release statement that's been released to all media houses? That's just, my little say on this. And then the Association of Law Students has petitioned President Akufo-Addo to call the withdrawal of the controversial Legal Profession Regulations 2017 from Parliament. So today on the show, we've got the President of the Association of Law Students, the President of that association, joining us here on the AM show for a conversation. We'll try and find out where the process has gotten to in Parliament and what they will do, because they've petitioned Parliament, they petitioned the presidency, and we'll see what the way forward looks like here on the show. So a lot of it will be exciting on the show. Lots of talking point here on our show.
All right, so let's look at the Daily Guide. It says Ibrahim storms Flagstaff House. The story is on page 3 of the paper. The Daily Guide, I tell you, it's a great tabloid, one of my best newspapers, and according to a Joe poll recently, it says Daily Guide picks top sports. Well, they're really not.
Wait, the Daily Graphic, is there a conflict? Because it was the Daily Graphic.
Yeah, it's a Daily Graphic.
And then the Daily Guide
is a second.
Oh, okay, all right.
So it says Daily Guide picks top sports. Charlie, sometimes if you shower your body.
Oh yeah, they deserve it. Absolutely.
So they put it in the editorial. They say we're humbled, encouraged. At the time we were composing yesterday's editorial in response to mischievous reference to us by the spokesperson of the former president. International agency has rated the Daily Guide as the second most rated. The Joe poll suggested that we come second to the Daily Graphic in terms of readership.
Oh, you've done well, and I think that you.
Well, I think, but it's only that when you go to of course, the Nigerian market is big. Sometimes you see their newspapers like 90 pages.
Yeah,
and things like that.
It's huge. Yeah.
I just hope that sometimes what is here could be translated, maybe on phones, maybe use latest technology, so we can read them, so that we go through the online subscription.
I think that market is still very small.
It's still very small.
Yeah, still very small.
We'll see how we can explore that to the future. The Daily Graphic started; it's not been too successful, so we'll see how that goes. Kwabenya, attack ringleader, smoked out. Police screen recruits 1,000 illegal miners busted. But the main story is about Ibrahim. That's Ibrahim Mahama. Storming the Flagstaff House on page 3 of the paper. And the story reads that Ibrahim Mahama, younger brother of former President John Dramani Mahama, reportedly stormed the Flagstaff House last Friday to have a meeting with the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. It is unclear what Ibrahim's mission was at the presidency, but many are speculating that the meeting might have something to do with the bauxite concession, which was handed to his company,
Exxon
Group Limited. No, if the Daily Guide says it's speculate, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Gina Blay, Freddie Blay, they're the owners of the newspapers. So we have other things. It says Weir's inauguration. They try to put all those things together.
So yesterday he spoke. He gave like a statement after the inauguration. This was like an official. And when they said President's rear, like I still didn't quite sink. It's now kind of sinking that we have President's rear just across it.
But he's an epitome of things that could happen to anybody.
Yeah. It's true. Right. That's if you're determined and if you're focused.
Yeah, sure.
And if you try to succeed in your field.
Yeah. No matter how long it takes.
Exactly. Because that's traditionally, it's not like the route to the presidency.
Yes.
That's
usually you should be an astute politician.
Exactly.
You should have gone through the ranks.
So you can come from nowhere really and take a position and occupy a certain space and rule it. Yeah.
Get a buy-in of the people.
Yeah.
I think I would want to be president one day. What do you think about it?
No, not yet. We'll find another place for you, like, in the church or something.
That would be great too. Yeah. Anywhere I can function perfectly.
I think the church would do. We graduate you from Sunday school teacher.
God bless everybody.
To the head pastor.
Great too. Pastors are quite rich too.
I knew that was going to follow.
Yeah, you should follow. God gave us resources for us to explore.
It's okay, I beg. Let's do the paper.
Okay, so let's go to the center spread. It's a news one pull out of the Daily Guide newspaper. The second most read newspaper according to a Joe poll.
Hey, Roland.
They've paid me, so let me do advert.
They have, eh?
They have not. Please. Let me not be surcharged. So we have the center spread. It says Sam Ajete Field begs children and calls for support. And
his own children, right?
Begs his children and calls for support. And we know that he apparently appeared on the Delay Show as a recorded program. It's usually on YouTube, but also aired on one of the channels. And we're told that veteran actor Sam Ajete, popularly known as TT of Taxi Driver series fame, broke down in tears on national TV to apologize profusely to his children for his wrongs as a father. TT, who was speaking on the Delay Show, acknowledged he didn't treat his children fairly. He revealed that he left them in the care of his mistress, who maltreated them to the extent of sexually assaulting his daughter by driving her heels, that's shoe heels, into, and it's quoted here, my daughter's vulva. And it's all because maybe he left the first
and
marriage.
what he watched, he didn't do anything about it?
No, he didn't know. Later I was told him. And he said that if he knew about it, he would have committed murder and he could have been languishing in jail. That's what he said. But really, I feel also when you look at the fulcrum or the thrust of the interview he gave Delay, it was about the help he needs to, I guess, treat...
To survive?
Yeah, no,
he's not well?
Yes, treat chronic ailment he has, diabetes, heart problems, kidney and all that. But they are picking on, I think the media is mainly picking on how he's not doing well financially, etc.
Well, we are sensational. Let's accept it. So people will pick on the other things that can get the...
But I think it's about how he's not doing well too.
So
it's also because acting in Ghana generally doesn't pay. So it's not as if that sometimes many of the actors are at fault at the way sometimes their state of life, even though they could have, because you are in charge of your life generally. But the thing is that generally the industry doesn't pay enough, contrary to what people think. Because when you're famous, the thought is that...
But if you're pretty smart, you can put yourself together. But that's why we see some of them investing in other areas, even though you would think that their main job is the acting profession, but they've got investments in other areas. They've got other businesses. I think that it's sometimes when you have all the fame, it's so easy to forget that it would stay longer. But it doesn't stay that long.
Drown themselves in the fame.
It doesn't.
But the thing is that when you realize early on in life, especially in your early 20s, that the fame is just transient, you tend to do something about it by also making sure you put something on the side. What the British
I don't know. I just have there's something that I say. I love the money. I mean, what is fame without money? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So, get a certain focus. And then
well, God help all of us all.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we will see hopefully in the coming days the other angle of what you were thinking would be highlighted in terms of support for his health.
Yes, that's what really he needs. And in the interview, he gave out a number that people could... Yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
So what we'll do is...
So he has a number
here. Okay, sure.
It says, so ultimately put it at the tail end of the story.
Okay.
Okay. So if you are somebody who reads 3 paragraphs of the story, it means that you're not...
Why don't we just get people to grab the paper so that they can read about it? Right. But don't just read the first 2 lines or something. Just read the entire story so that you can get the number. Let's do the last newspaper. The Today newspaper, front page of the Today. Water rationing to stay until raining season. Okobing mining accused of using soldiers to brutalize students, and MDU clears air on boycott of verification exercise. That's Daniel Owusu-Kranting, General Secretary of MDU. You can read all about it in the Today newspaper. And MDU is what? I was just going to... Okay, let's see. That's the Maritime and Dock Workers Union, or the Trades Union Congress. This says its decision to boycott the January 19, 2018 verification exercise by the Chief Labour Officer with the support was due to the lack of respect for TUC. So there's some conflict clearly ongoing here. You can read all about it in the Today newspaper. Let's do some messages and then we will do online, and we'll go to myjoyonline.com. So here's Eric Mensah Oklu saying good morning to us.
Good morning.
And thank you for updating us with the Vice President's health. We wish him speedy recovery. God bless you all. So Eric Mensah Oklu in Akachi sending us a WhatsApp message. If you've got a message, kindly wire it off to me. We'll share it with everybody else. Let's see. This one says, it's good to hear that the VIP will return this week. May Allah grant him full recovery. From Adip Amba in Tamale. And this one says, water rationing in Ghana. I think Ghana can do better than they're doing as a country. Okay, more like that than we're doing, because we're all Ghanaians and we live in Ghana. Very soon we'll be complaining the rains are too much. Yeah, we will get there definitely. Nyan Yovo Savior sending us this message. This one also says, it's from Fuseina Safian Watsavalugu. Government must watch critically the havoc that it's causing the NPP party as far as this galamsey fighting is concerned. For God's sake, Ghanaians are involved and majority of them voted for the NPP. Can we not politicize this whole galamsey fight? I guess the politicians would say no. I mean, it is linked, but whichever way, let's move on. What shall we do about noise pollution in Ghana? Someone is asking me. This one says okay, let's see. Okay, if you're doing propaganda, I won't read your message, but here's a message that I'll certainly read. The present Interior Minister, together with the National Security Minister, should allow the police to do their work diligently because the interference is their interference. Hits the point. Tanko Abubakar Shukura, tell me exactly what you think is going on between the Interior Minister, the Ministry, Security Minister, and then the police force. Exactly what you're saying.
He suspects something?
Yeah, he suspects something. And I want him to say exactly what he suspects, you know. Let me use your media to wish the Vice President speedy recovery. Okay.
We all wish him speedy recovery.
Yeah, we definitely all wish him well. This one says, respect human rights. What an irony. It's a headline in one of the papers. Is it not the same? Okay. Yeah, I know where that is going.
That's the ombudsman.
Yeah.
Verification.
Yeah, somebody's drawing our attention. That's Samuel Aduko Yar is drawing our attention to something, but he says it's pathetic to see students sit under trees with a hamatan to learn, most especially these students in the Taribisi JHS in the Kasina Nankana Municipal Assembly. So they sit on the trees on top of bicycles. I wonder what these students will learn. And you've sent us some pictures, so I'm going to download.
And see then, whether it's good for public viewing.
Oh, it would definitely be good. But thank you for the
heads up.
You're doing your own citizen journalism, and we like that very much. If you've got something you want to draw attention to, it would be good to add some videos or pictures to it as well for us. Last one, and then we'll go online. I really love your savings box. Oh, okay. So you really opened my eye yesterday. But what I'm afraid of is when someone steals the box. We thank God our Vice President is returning. Amofa Eric I came across. So keep it. You don't have to carry it everywhere you go.
Yeah, we're not saying carry it.
Last year, I had to safeguard our box because we're doing it together. Yeah. So I had to be carrying it.
It was in your car almost every day.
Yeah, but this is what I did.
You could just give it to people. Charlie, hold it for me. I'm going to do some recording.
I never did that. You know what I did?
No.
If I would take so I was very mindful when I would take my vehicle to the car wash. You get what I mean?
Yes,
and if I took it, I would sit there and I'll take my box. Box would be sitting on me.
Oh, sorry for making you go.
But I'll take it out of the vehicle each time I go home.
So now where is it home now?
Yes, it's in my bedroom.
Great.
So keep it somewhere safe in your home.
So all the kids have piggy banks now?
The kind of destroyers, I don't know how, but
they're too young for them to buy the grabs.
But once in a while they'll put a coin in mine. So that's still, Okay, so good luck with your Susu box and keep it safe. There's some, you can keep it safe. Yeah. Let's go online, Roland, quickly.
Okay, so let's quickly go through majoonline.com. And the first story is about Kakum Park.
Visit to Ghana's Kakum National Park. Slums. No wonder. Have they fixed the roads? Because we highlighted some challenges.
No, the roads have not. The last time when the roads had not been fixed, I went there, I think, somewhere in August. It won't be August.
So Ghana Heritage Conservation Trust, managers of the Kakum National Park, indicates that the patronage of the site has significantly reduced over the past years. Now, if you keep highlighting on challenges with, our tourism sites and nothing is done about it, do we expect increments in patronage? We certainly don't. Let's move on. First Lady, Ghana will excel at Women African Cup of Nations, and they pulled her support. She's endorsed the 2018 Women African Cup of Nations, which is scheduled to take place in Ghana from November 17 to December 5, 2018. And I'm excited because when it comes to the women, tournaments, we don't give a lot of attention.
We don't.
It's like, All right.
Not only that, we've not been giving a lot of attention
to other sports, apart from
even the development of the women's sports.
Okay. Yeah. CDD Ghana calls on Parliament to summon AG, Information Minister, over RTI bail. Good call. It will just, I don't know,
fizzle out.
Yeah. Let's move on, because it's not. If you look at the agenda, at least what I have seen for this sitting. It's not there. But the point
just not a priority.
Yeah,
right,
but the point is, it must come from the executive to Parliament.
But I keep telling you know the politicians, they know how to rule well or have better ideas to rule when they are in opposition. When they get to government, Charlie. You know
Eastern Region, 32 illegal miners arrested by Miners Association. Moving on quickly. We've got some quirky stories we want to share with you before we wrap up. Minority cast doubts on government job creation. Police hunt for Kwabena suspects. It's kind of like a wrap of some events happening, or that happened on Monday. Water shortage. Ghana Water Company to publish water rationing timetable. Afterthoughts. Let's move on. Ekufuado government, 745,000 jobs claim. Big joke of the year, according to the
I think we asked that question here, that what were the jobs? They're supposed to be linked to the Plentiful Food and Jobs program.
Depending on who you're talking to.
Yeah, true.
Let's finish off.
If you talk to the two of us, we can't give you the number.
Koku Anidoho writes, George Weah has clinched it. Liberia has made it.
Oh, good writer. I read it and it was a good piece. He's a very good writer.
I think that in Ghana, we kind of like don't give opportunity to others just because they're politicians. Sometimes it's because they also bring it upon themselves.
No,
so
I
they kind of involve themselves
the media
in politics so much.
Has consolidated that stereotype.
We don't get to appreciate the other side of them. So it's good that.
And there's also that talk when they're in opposition, they keep saying winner takes all. When they're in the government, they don't say that again.
Only 10% of Galamsey suspects convicted. Operation Vanguard laments slow prosecution. And I agree with them largely. It doesn't show people what they're doing. Okay, so really, it's a wrap. We've got the other stories we want to share. So let's quickly, jump to Kenya, and we've got a video that we're going to show you. It's a man who has been an advisor to Raila Odinga. What's happening in Kenya today, or later today, if you like, is the swearing in of Raila Odinga. He lost the elections, by the way, the August elections, that earlier one that was announced. Subsequently, when there was a rerun, he did not take part, even though his
party instigated the whole announcement. They had
but now we're told, even though Uhuru Kenyatta is president of Kenya, that he is also going to be sworn in. So we are not sure, except that you can predict that there will be chaos. Let's listen to this.
That on the issue of the swearing in, it is an act, a positive action by patriotic Kenyans to reclaim the power and sovereignty of the people of Kenya that vests with them, pursuant to Chapter 1 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. So that is the basis. As I have said before, Uhuru Park belongs to the people of Kenya. Uhuru Park does not belong to Jubilee, nor does Uhuru Park belong to NASA, nor does Uhuru Park belong to any factional group. I understand that Mungiki are being trained in the Kiambu County to come and attack people at Uhuru Park, presumably to forcefully circumcise Luos and other ethnic communities. This is my message to them and to our members, to all NRM members. You have a right to self-defense. Stand your ground. Don't.
So you can be sure. You can
and the
be
latest
sure
we're getting is that the crowds are around there, even though the Uhuru Park has now been cordoned off, had been cordoned off by the security forces. Yeah, so Well, but we'll bring you up to speed with the latest. If we can get some live pictures too, I think we'll do so. We'll try and stream and see what we can get from the various networks in Kenya as to what really is happening at Uhuru Park. We'll do that before the close of the program, definitely.
We'll see what happens, what Raila Odinga be sworn in as either the people's president or the president of the Republic of Kenya.
It can happen.
We wait to see. It can happen. Well, we wait to see. Yesterday, I did share the story of bodies that, dead bodies. You've got to sign on to this project. They would freeze your dead body in the hope that science will bring you back someday. So here's a video of how the facility looks like.
Is a company called Alcor. Despite the high temperature outside, within, over 100 human bodies are being preserved at very low temperatures. Host David Pogue met with the president and CEO, Max Moore, to learn about the field of cryonics.
So who's in this gallery here?
These are some of our patients. We call them patients because we don't regard them as dead people. Their idea is that what we call death today is something of an arbitrary line. Really, it's today's doctors giving up and saying, there's nothing more I can do for this person, and I'm letting them go. What we're doing is we're saying, let's not quit there. Let's give the future a chance to bring these patients back.
Moore doesn't promise he'll be able to bring any of his patients back, but he thinks the chances are pretty good.
Already, we're seeing the field of regenerative medicine just burgeoning. We're already starting to replace organs and grow organ parts. And I think within the next 20 years, you're going to see some amazing developments. So pretty much any organ in the body will be replaceable, either with a biological one grown from your own tissue, or perhaps a synthetic organ.
After an Alcor member is declared legally dead, the patient is immediately placed in an ice bath. Then, the Alcor team restores respiration to make sure oxygen continues to flow to the brain until the body is cryopreserved. In fact, certain patients choose to preserve their heads alone. Ted Williams, the baseball star, is a famous Alcor neuro patient.
But here's the part I don't get. Suppose medical science does advance as you hope, and in 75 years they can revive this decapitated head. You don't have a body anymore.
Well, this is the way I look at it. I personally am a neuro member myself. I'm not taking along my body. My reasoning being that by the time I need this, my body's going to be a disaster area. So in my view, if you have the technology that can repair 100 billion damaged neurons, replacing this part is going to be pretty easy by comparison. But we leave that choice to our members. So let me show you the patient care bay.
Patient care bay.
Yes, this is where we have currently 117 patients, the oldest being Professor James Bedford, whose cryopreserved back in 1967.
Wow! Oh my gosh, this is very sci-fi.
It's not quite as sci-fi as in the movies where they always have a little frosty face behind a glass plate. Whole body patients, and we can also fit 5 neuro patients in the central column.
There's people in those cans.
That's right.
The bodies are wrapped in a sleeping bag to protect the skin from direct exposure to liquid nitrogen. Each one is held in its own aluminum compartment within the can.
So if we could see through these, we would see people just kind of like floating like this, or?
You'd see the aluminum pods, and inside they're actually head down. So that
head down?
Yeah, so that the head would be the last thing to be exposed.
So are these heavily insulated? Are these basically giant thermoses?
Exactly. Just room temperature, a little bit cool to the touch.
Yep. That's not...
Inside is extremely cold, minus 196 C, minus 320 Fahrenheit.
I mean, you must get some strong reactions from people.
No, it reminds me of Captain, the first part of Captain America. I think the first film.
Okay.
You know, the gentleman was put in, and then from the 50s or
Come
somewhere.
on, rationing timetable. Media for chase you before. People are thinking, wait ahead. We'll see. I don't know. If you're willing to put yourself...
Even existing technologies, we don't want to copy.
If you're willing to put yourself, your body through this process, send me a message. But the last thing we do, and then Benedict will come on, we'll talk some sports with him, is this interesting hotel run by robots. So there was, like a tour for media persons, and this was a showcase of how it feels like. So here we go.
Which country is it?
This is Tokyo.
Japan.
Welcome to Hannan Hotel. Please use the touch panel to select your language.
「変なホテル」の変は、英語でストレンジではなくて変わり続ける、変化し続ける、進化するホテルという意味合いを込めております。
Get there.
You know, sometimes we don't love our own. Chris Asafo. What's that? Your robot in yellow.
Ah, yeah.
What's he say?
Yeah.
We
are talking.
We do know bisa obedient.
How about
we do Labadi Beach we bisa obedient. Chris Asafo. What shall say? Be long time.
Yeah. How about the vehicle the president sat in and he said, "Ozi we are me yeah.
The same story.
Yeah, I think that this was from the BBC.
Yes, yeah. I had this on the BBC too.
Yeah. So for the BBC angle, it's actually a woman who slept in the hotel who was sharing her experience.
And there's a real human robot that has been made. It recently was featured in the UN summit for women. It was introduced, and the lady came to speak robots. You could see the human. I
can't live in there. I can't go to.
Benedict, what do you have for us?
First of all, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yesterday, I was expecting you to show me the emotional side of Roger Federer, which you didn't. I did see the crying bits.
I did. That was the last time I showed.
Really, the crying bits.
Yeah, the crying.
You're forgiven.
Was it this one, Fred? Fred has it. Fred is going to show us if this was it.
No.
No, if you want the crying bit, but just
this
one time.
is.
I still want to see it.
Yeah.
Charlie Rocha, the guy is my guy anytime, any day.
Oh,
anytime, any day. Oh, Fred started from the beginning. This is not it. Towards the end is where he cries, and that's my favorite bit.
He's always crying, even when he loses.
Yeah, okay, it's coming. No, it's not.
I remember one of the matches against the Spanish guy, Rafa Nadal, Wimbledon.
Yeah. Watch it. That's it. That's it. This is where he cries.
You're so excited about
Africa. Well, African no, also because I call Jimmy.
No, we wouldn't say that.
But I mean, he's a legend.
Yeah,
sure.
Even a winner.
Ghana knew Africa for 6 times, and
when you're Africa, you are crying. Africa mine.
And his 20th.
So yesterday, Rafiq Salam sends a message, and he said that. Tell Roland that Serena Williams has won 23 Grand Slams in the Open era.
Just
she
one
was
shot
the one that equals Steffi Graf's record of 22 Grand.
And it's actually just
so
one
the
shot
record is
of
for
somebody.
Serena. The record, Rafiq says, is for Serena and not Federer. Rafiq Salam, we get it. We're talking about the men's
and
game.
even for the women's edition, it's not Serena. Serena is just one shot to equal one that is in Mary Gate or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is my history. So what is your presence? What's up for today?
Today we're talking about the various national teams.
Okay.
There's been some technical changes for the Black Queens, the Black Starlets, and the Black Starlights. Yes. And also
the politics is affected, or just normal?
Is it politics or technical changes?
Technical changes, yeah. And something interesting.
Things have been changing since
the boxing bout on Saturday.
That one. Yes. I heard it was comical. I didn't even watch it.
Oh, you didn't watch it? Yeah. You've not seen highlights of the bout?
I don't want to.
Okay, good.
The boy was good, so.
You watched Dugbe? Exactly.
I don't want to spoil my appetite.
It's good you mentioned Dugbe's name because, yesterday on radio, callers were calling that, we should get Dugbe and Tego to fight.
Oh, how?
Good. I like it.
My kids will say jinx.
Different weight classes.
My kids will say jinx. When we say things together, I say jinx.
It's possible.
How?
Yeah, it's possible. We had Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor. The bout came on. So it will be interesting to have Dugbe and Tego fight.
Isn't Dugbe way ahead of Tego?
Rather, what I was thinking, rather what I was
weight and the other is lightweight. So we'll find out from a boxing expert this morning if it's possible that the two.
Rather, what I was also thinking.
Why don't we just wait for the story? We'll come back.
No, but Roland was making.
What I was thinking, why is it that Dugbe had to find a hard time, you know, getting the resources to organize a bout. Why didn't he just join Baby Jet promotion? But I think also would have been a better promotion for Baby Jet promotion.
Well, it's a promotion that, you know, they will decide on which boxer.
No, me patch say, man, we said Obeko Tego, so called Dogwe Muma, or no, we
well, but they want Tego, and they feel Tego is a better boxer. I know,
but Onyane, but it's okay.
So whichever way is good for us as a country.
Yeah. And it will be very interesting if that bout is going to happen. And I doubt it will happen. Yeah, it will be very, very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, all right, details of all the headlines you've heard coming up in a bit with Benedict. We'll come back and do a wrap. Stay with us. You're watching the AM Show.